improv. What's that word? Poured epoxy?
Solvent.
Solvent, thank you. Am I next?
Yes, you're up. You're up. Maya.
Hi, welcome to Barvotti's 35th live screening of Tools for Creatives. I am Phoebe Bradbury, and today I will be demonstrating some of the tools that I use every day in my art studio. I wouldn't want to be without them, and I find new uses for them all the time. There will be promotional offers during the program, and the promo codes will be active during the demonstration and for about half an hour after the current time. The current time is 12 noon Central, January the 12th, 2022. Right now, the promotions are only available on amzn.to. So, what happens now?
You go to.
Okay.
You go over there.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to start by showing some samples of the work I've done on the show. And this is what came from one of the first shows, and it was done with these types of modelers. And I'll be going over them in more detail in a few minutes. Just want to make sure I'm in focus here. Yes, I am. Okay. So this is, oh, and the other thing about this is done on very inexpensive butcher's paper, which means it has a slick side and the paper side. It's meant for wrapping meat, but it's also perfect for playing with certain types of art and for practicing different techniques. So this, with what I'm doing, it works really, really well with a slick side. And I'm using acrylic paints that are not quite liquid, but they're watered down a little bit. Not watered down. They have medium and water added to them. So that's that one. This is another one. Oh, both of these took probably less than a minute to make. And so there's another one. And if you do a lot of that, which is a lot of fun, and we're going to be doing some that later in the show, you'll get very, very good at making quick abstracts. And so you will probably want to move on to a better quality paper. Now, what I've experimented with so far is Yupo paper, which is a plastic paper, and this is done on a postcard piece of work. This painting actually took probably less than a minute, and maybe a minute and a half. And once again, it was done with these kinds of tools, and not even the smallest ones, but ones that are this size, and maybe a bit bigger. I don't know what I was going to say. Well, the thing is, you will probably want to graduate to better quality paper so that you can market them, and this Yupo paper is archival. And so I'm actually in the process of setting up some of the work that I've done here to market online. But I'll show you some of the pieces here. So that's that one. This is, okay, I just have to go over this again because I did this small and then I thought, no, now I want to try and do the similar thing big, which is what I've done. And this one is done with a blue as well, but it's on a bigger piece of paper. And there is some, there's metallic paint in there. I'll show you that in a minute. But so you can sort of see the metallic glisten of it. Okay. So just like the, starting to put parchment paper between them, because if I'm going to market them, I want them to be in very good quality. So this is, you saw the entry one of where the painting was done very quickly. This is also done very quickly in here, not right now, but it's done as the show ends. And this is a thing I was doing at the beginning. I was leaving a white border, sort of looked like a mat. It's kind of fun to do that, but sometimes it's great to use the whole piece of paper. And this once again is a Yupo piece of paper, and it's marketable because it is. Okay, this is this. They didn't see this one. Is this what we're going to show now?
It will be open.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't get to see what we open with because I'm on the other side of the camera. So this is Blue Bridge, and it's one of the ones we did very, very early in the show. And it's the first time we sped it up and set it to music. And so we were quite delighted with that, especially with the piece of music that we got. And then we got a message from YouTube saying that piece of music wasn't available anymore. So we've been searching for another piece that would go with it. So you got to see that today. And it's called Blue Bridge, and this is one of the ones that's going to be marketed shortly. Okay. Put that aside. And this is what we're going to show, a rapid rendition of this today. How do I know it's upside down? I know it's upside down because I signed my name, my initial right down there. Don't know. This is called Purple Domain. So, and these are small works, or what you would call studies, but because they're so nice, it is possible to market them. So you can have a lot of fun learning. So I learned a lot from doing this one, and I hope you enjoyed the little video about it. Okay. I'm just going to leave. Yeah, this is the same picture, only I'm holding it and wiggling it right now. And now I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to talk to you about the tools that were used to make these. And these are our 5 main modelers. I've got a few other things today. Finally, we've gotten some more inventory into Amazon, and so we've got some new products today to show you. But right now, I'm going to start with these, and start with a 3-inch modeler. So let's see. I think yeah. So this is the 3-inch modeler. It's a silicon. It's got a silicon blade, a strong silicon blade, and it's a medium firm silicon. I'm not sure what the metal is here, but I don't find that it rusts. I've had them for several years, but I also take care of my tools, and I leave them dry every day. So it has a very strong, dense synthetic handle, and I'm very happy about that because let's see if I've got the other one. No. I had a sample of one that had oh, there it is. I have one with a wooden handle. It's a different type. It's also a different type of silicon, but as you can see, the handle is not really doing too well. And oops, am I doing that right? Yeah. Okay. And so there's cracks. The paint is coming off, and this is a 2-inch one. So what I like about the handle, I don't have those problems. It doesn't, the paint doesn't come off. It doesn't get wet. The other thing that it has, which is really important for me, is it has this hole at the end so that if it's clean, I can hang it up out of the way. If it's dirty, I can hang it up so it's not on my work surface. And generally speaking, I clean them as I go using a damp cloth. I don't really have pots of water sitting around. I have a little pail of damp cloths that I run through the washer every couple of days. And I only use them once because I'm actually taking off wet paint, and then I drop them into water, and and they just come out absolutely clean. And I'll show you that as we go through. Okay, so that's the 3-inch. So that's our largest one right now, the 3-inch modeler. I have limited space here, so I have to look. And these are all made exactly the same way. They behave the same way, and we're going to go through and demonstrate all of them just to give you an idea of what they can do. Because right now they look a little boring. It looks like a square squeegee, but we'll get into that. So this is the 2.5-inch. Once again, very well made. Lasts for years, strong blade. And the thing about the blade, I don't know if we can get a nice, yeah. The thing about the blade is it's very straight and it's very sharp, and it can make very incisive marks. It can make, that's what this tool is about, is that strong, sharp, straight blade. And the fact that the silicone is durable gives you a tool that you can just use for so many things. 2.5, 2-inch, 1.5-inch, and 1-inch. And what I want to show you about the 1-inch and the 3-inch, I'm going to bring them right up close again. I'll put that paper back. I want to show you that they look exactly the same. So there's been no skimping on the 1-inch one. It's the same quality of silicone, and it's the same depth, same flexibility. So often when you get sets, well, these aren't sold in sets, but when you get the smaller version of a tool, they're not made quite as well. The 1 inch is our most popular one because that's where people start with our product, and that is part of the reason why we now sell all of the other sizes, because they really are useful in the studio, and I use them all the time for many things, and we'll get into that in a few moments. Is this where I talk about Sandy? Yeah. Oh, I showed the cleaning of them. Okay. So now I'd like to introduce Sandy Welsh, an online artist on Instagram. She will be painting with a 1 inch modeler, and then she will do some scratching through with the 3 inch modeler. Thank you, Sandy Welsh.
Let's see. I'm going to go back to my little rubber spatula here. She had that big ball of dark. And then we'll go over it again with a lighter blue, but this will be underneath. So are we getting to look like this ocean? See? This is really cool. Where do you get them? Oh, I ordered them from Amazon. They look like, where's my big one? I think they're called shapers. I got 2 of them. I got the bigger one. They're not expensive either. I got this one. I think if you just put in paint shapers, this will come up. They're nice, and you can use the tips if you want to sort of scratch out. Yeah, they had a couple different sizes, but I like them. It's the first time I've started using them.
Okay, you're on.
Okay, this is a painting I did while I was at art school. You can see the scraping through it in the red at the bottom, and at the lines at the top, made by scraping through the darker layer into a yellow layer below. The painting is also covered with a layer of horizontal and vertical fluorescent green lines poured across the surface. In the next demo, I will be showing you how some of these effects are achieved. And so I'm going to go to the basic demo. Now, are you doing something different now? Okay. So I have to ad-lib this little bit because I haven't had these since we started the beginning of the show. We've had trouble because of the way for shipping and things like that. So some of the products that we normally carry just were not available. And with the Amazon, on Amazon Live, we are supposed to only show things that are currently available. So these are available as of today. And these are sets of 5. 5 Barvotti. We call these shapers, these ones modelers. And the shapers are like, and they do have wooden handles. They don't have a plastic handle. And I've had them for years as well, and they seem to work quite well. They don't come apart or warp like the modelers. Modelers are used for a lot more things, so I'm just going to bring them up. Oops. I'm going to show you the tips, and I'm going to put a paper over If you're an artist, you'll realize that some of these tips you'll use a lot, and others you probably won't use that much. So there's 5 different tips. And here I said I was going to show that, and then okay. So I think this is the angled chisel. So with this one, and I'm going to bring it right in. Zoom, zoom, zoom. So this is the angled chisel, and it's made of the same high quality silicone as the other ones. And you can create precise marks with it. You can create expressive strokes with it. We're going to be playing with that today a bit. And for example, you could apply masking fluid if you were doing watercolor painting. And they're also used in working with clay and clay figurines and stuff like that. So they're quite firm. So that is the angled chisel. Now the flat chisel, because I paint a certain style and things, I use some of these more than others. I don't use these quite as much, but oops, I'm out of focus and I am talking. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Previn. Okay, here's the flat chisel. And I guess what I was trying to say is that some of these in the set I don't use very much, but I use this one a lot because it's very similar in style to these ones. It's just smaller. And we have these sets. Today we have the sets. There's this is like 7 millimeters across the end. It's a flat end. And we do have them in sets of where they're 10 millimeters, which is of course a centimeter. That size, that's not available, but will be available shortly. So I do use this a lot. And I use the other one a lot too. Now this one might be more for clay shaping, I'm not sure. But it's got a nice, let's see, where's that piece of paper? Oh, piece of paper's under all of the stuff. So, okay. It's a little bit easier to see. So that's called the cup shape. What I should go over again is the flat chisel, which I just showed you, that I tell you I use all the time. I've got a little thing here that tells me what to say about it. And it's to blend and mix paint, and that's true, it's perfect for that. Create flat, even strokes, and you can use it for smudging pastel and graphic or charcoal. So it's very useful for that kind of thing. Now the cup chisel, you can use it for adjusting contours and edges. Oops, removing paint. There we go. And carving into paint. So I paint quite large usually, so I'm not carving into paint very often. The round cup, that's this one here. Oops. It's also very much like the chisel. Blend charcoal and pastel, move heavy paint, control thick color. So I'm getting signals that I'm sometimes off the page here. That's because I'm looking at my hand too. And you can use it to create soft edges. Okay. And then there's this one here. It's just sort of like a long pointy thing, like I don't know. It just goes to a point like a pencil. Blend charcoal and pastel, apply, remove, and carve paint. It's great for creating linear strokes. And what they're not mentioning here is that if you have damp paint, and this is how I would use it, I would use it to make expressive marks. And you can create broad, forceful marks for that. So this is the 7 millimeter size, and we have them, and in that size. We will have them very shortly in the 10 millimeter size. Okay, I know, just give me a minute. Okay, it should be in focus because the focuser, oops, there we are, we're in focus now. We have an automatic focuser on here, but if I'm moving my hands up and down, it sort of disturbs that a little bit. So this is the 7mm size. And the other ones that we have available right now are our tiniest ones. And these are, I think they're 3mm. I've measured across the end of the one that's the flat chisel, and I get a 3mm. So they're very tiny. They're used for, of course, very delicate work, probably, or tiny where you have to fix something very small. Also used for carving, and they come in exactly the same angles and ends as the other one. There's an angle chisel. Where's that one? Here. There's the angle chisel. See, just like the other one. Angle chisel. There's the flat chisel, and that's the one that. So, depending on what you're doing, these can be very, very useful, but they are really tiny. The cup chisel, there's that. That's the cup chisel here. So it looks sort of like a little cup at the end. Here, I'll get it in here. Oh, tiny. There it is. The cup chisel. The round cup, which is just it's like a flat chisel, but it's rounded on the end. So I wonder if I can get a little bit better color there. That's good. And of course, then there's the taper point, so it just tapers to a very small point, just like the other ones. And this is the 3mm. We have a 4mm, which actually looks a little bit bigger than 4mm. So we have them in 3mm, 4mm, 7mm, and 10mm. So just to give you an idea, these are the 10mm right here. Oops, I have glue on some of them because, so you can see they're quite a bit larger. So I'm going to go out, right, Previn? Okay, let's see. How do I go out? Zoom out. Okay. So there's the 10mm, the 7mm. I have these in a package right now. This isn't the way we package them, but that gives you an idea of the size. That's the 4mm, and that's the 3mm. And today we will play with some of the ones that we have a bit. So we currently have the 3mm and the 7mm available, and we will play with those in our next session. I think it starts right now, doesn't it? Kevin? Pardon me? When do I do my? Yeah, no, I have. Okay, so this is the point of the show where I usually just pour some paint on and start working. And we're going to do that. The only difference is going to be that we're going to be working with quite a few more pieces. Quite a few more products, I should say, not pieces. So let's get started with some nice. Let's get started. I'm sorry.
The corner and you have paper sticking out.
Yeah, can I just do this? Okay, so I'm going to start with the 3-inch. That's the 3-inch modeler. I'm just going over a little square I've already put on the board so that it's right in the middle. So that's spreading the paint, the 3-inch modeler. And because it's got, like I said, the very sharp straight edge, I'm just going to go right across here like this, and I'm going to scrape right through. So that's the 3-inch scrape. I'm going to fill it in again. And the other thing I should have pointed out with the 3-inch scrape is that when you do scrape through like that, you're exposing the the tone of the paint. In this case, it scrapes right through, almost right through the paint, but you're exposing the tone of the paint when it's spread really thin, and then the dark mass tone is the darkest the paint will ever get. So that's how it comes out of the bottle or whatever. I do dilute my paints that I use here because I like them to be a little fluid. So I add acrylic medium and water to them. And this waxy surface sometimes causes the paint to bubble up a little bit. And that's just because it's not being absorbed. So Expressive Marks, you might recognize these from some of the other things that I showed earlier. So this is using this very thick brush to make a very thin mark and pull out small amounts. And you can see by overlapping and playing with it, you can actually get a composition. So that's a little mini composition with the big red brush. And because I haven't done this very often, I haven't shown the small shapers with these large mottlers. So normally what I do is I go through all the mottlers, but because the red one does such a beautiful job of giving me a flat surface, I want to show some of the expressive marks we can get from the smaller mottlers. And first of all, smaller mottlers, the smaller shapers. So I'm going to start with I'll put this over here. I'm going to start with the 7mm. So this is the, can you see that? Okay, is that close enough? I can bring it in and zoom it in. And I think it is. Yep. So that's the pointy end of the first one. The angled chisel. And this is going to be sort of the chisel end. So you can see might make marks with that. And maybe some more sort of ribbony-like marks. Okay. So all of this I think will probably be one of the more expressive ones. I'm just going to erase that or put some more red paint over it. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and show you how easy it is to clean. Might not show that well against that surface, but see, it has no red on it, and I've just wiped it with a little red with my cloth here. And this is the flat chisel, so very nice straight lines. You'll make nice ribbony things. You can say things in this. You can write. One of the things I like to do is when playing with this, is particularly with the Yupo paper, is you can write secret messages in your painting that only if you tell people would they find out what they are. And this would be a perfect size for writing secret messages. Or the other thing is, of course, that I've always struggled with is, how do I sign my name to the painting? So, Phoebe. So you can sign your name with it. And some of these you can make even smaller. So this is a very nice ribbony one. It should probably I'm probably taking a bit longer because I haven't used these in a long time. And I've been demonstrating with the other ones for quite a while. You can probably make very nice straight, oh yeah. So if you wanted to make a lot of straight lines going in a certain way, overlapping, maybe you would use this and then push a little harder for the ones that are closer, maybe, So they have a lot of possibilities for an abstract painter, which I am, and I can imagine for any other kind of painter would find these really amazing to work with. Okay, so I'm going to wash that one. Oops, I forget my area is very small. Okay. Cup. Oh, I guess I should rub it off again. This is the cup. Let's see, can I get it there? That's the cup shape. So once again, it makes a nice sharp, like 7mm size thing. It can be used to make ribbony marks. And of course, these can be used for carving clay. And just by their nature, that it's a little bit different shape than the other ones. And I haven't experimented much with these as I have with the others. So there's probably a whole range of expressive marks that I'm unaware of and can't even imagine how to demonstrate today. So they will all make expressive marks. Okay, and this is the oval cup shape, or the, what is this? That was the cup chisel I just did, and this is the oval. So, and the taper point. Now this taper point is probably going to be one of the best ones because it's very tiny. And then I'll do a quick demo with the really tiny ones too, but I don't know if anybody's going to be able to see them. This would be great for if you wanted to sign your name to a painting. You put one color down and then you put a contrasting color over top, say yellow first and then blue or something, and then you'd sign your name. Maybe. Or I often do PKB. Oops. Huh. PKB for my initials, but. So that's the 3-inch mottler and the 7mm shapers. And the 7mm shapers come in a set of 5, and they include, each one of those 5 has a different end. The angle chisel, flat chisel, cup chisel, round cup, and taper point. And though I don't find them quite as necessary to my art studio as the mottlers, it's probably more because I usually paint very large. And so where are we going to go? Where are the little ones? Where are the teeny weenies? Here they are. So look at these. They're just tiny. So all of these could be used for signing your name or scraping across very small marks. Here's the taper point. And I think for the tape, this is quite delicate, so it might not be quite strong enough to, it would probably be very good if you were maybe carving something really, you wanted to get an eyelash just perfectly, or the corner of something just perfectly. It's very tiny. And sometimes it's those very tiny things that need to be fixed that we don't really want to go in with something big. So these are all of the ones often used. These little tiny ones are often used for carving little figurines where you buy, you can buy molds for clay, a soft clay, and then you can put the clay into the mold, and then when you take it out and put the piece together, the figurine together, you have to soften. You have to do some work to make it look a little better, and these would be perfect for that. So that's the 3mm shapers. Okay, now I'm going to get back on and finish my thing with it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to these are the mottlers, and I'm wondering with this, if I can scrape it off because it's been sitting there for a while. So I'm just going to show you. These work really well to scrape all the paint off, say a surface or a palette or something like that. The thing is, if you're scraping it off a surface and it's quite damp, you'll want to overlap, and you probably want to wipe between. Notice how I'm wiping these between and getting clean. So this is a 2.5 I'm using right now. Wipe. And wipe. Okay, so there it is. Just as clean as it was before. I'm going to put a different color on and go to a different, the big red one. Let's put, I actually should change that because it's getting quite dry now. So I'm going to take that paint off there. I don't have to put it in a pail of water. In fact, it's much easier to clean if you don't get a bunch of water sloshing around. Just wipe it till the silicone is clean. And there we go. So very clean. Now put that one to be washed. And let's get a different color here. So that's a cerulean blue. And I've used 2 of the mottlers, so I'm ready now to use the 2-inch mottler. And I can pull back a little bit maybe, so this looks a little bit. Okay, you can see a bit more. So there's spreading the product. There's spreading. It's cerulean blue I've got there. And that's the spreading action of the 2-inch mottler. And now I'm going to scrape through. Ooh, look at that. I'm going to spread it again. Go sideways. Now, I spread it, I scraped through quite harsh and it picked up some of the red underneath. Now, I'm just going to show some of the sharp marks you can make. So these are the kinds of expressive marks you can make with these. And then you can go through and say, oh, I want to do this and this and this. And it's kind of fun when you've got a different color underneath. And with all these demonstrating things that I've done, it's taken me a while to figure out how do I do that so that I can continue demonstrating with a different size and yet show something a little bit new. And so that's some of the expressive marks. I can once again then erase this like this if I want to. Make it big, a little bit bigger. I think I'm still within the, yes, I am. And here I'm showing where the bubbling through because the surface doesn't really actually absorb that much. So you can't really do these things on paper unless you have finished the paper with a gesso or a glossy finish. So let's just play with this. Oops. So decided I had too much paint on, so I just wiped it off. And I have no mess. I'm just making very sharp sideways strokes. I'll go the other way too. That looks like fun. And then here. And this is often a lot of fun if you've got music to play. We've experimented a bit with that on the show, but and we've done some experimenting with monoprints where you sort of make a painting and then you take a print of it off. So that's the 2-inch. Here's the 1.5-inch. And I'm going to go like that. So just spreading the paint again, scraping through. And now you can see we're going to get different things underneath because we've had two different colors on here. Okay, so scrape through. Now that you've got a wider brush here, if you want to make, you can make some very interesting marks. Because your brush is wider. There we go. So that's it. One thing I haven't mentioned, these can be used for oil paint, with oil paintings and with cold wax paintings. The only thing you have to be careful with is that the silicone does dissolve in solvents if left in there for any length of time. So it is important if you're using solvents or solvent-based products that you rinse thoroughly in water before you leave them. They will soften. I know, I've tested it because I wanted to be able to answer that question correctly. So that's, once again, ready to go again. I'm just going to add, ooh, if I add yellow, it'll turn green, won't it? Yeah. This is the problem I have. So I'm going to add yellow. Anyway. And we're going to work a little bit with the 1 inch, which is just so extremely useful for everything. So I'm going to just spread this sort of across the surface. Not. So I'm just laying it very gently on the surface, and you can see the green pop up as soon as it mixes a little bit with that blue. Okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay. So I almost always do a demonstration of sort of like a weaving demonstration of just using these tools to go in and out and to show you how repeating patterns can be very interesting. So it's easiest to do it with the 1 inch, but you can do it like as in my painting that I had weavings that were several inches wide. So here I'm just going down with and I'm pulling off. So each time it's fairly clean. You notice that I deliberately set that up so I would get some red stuff underneath because that's one of the things that some painters want to have, but not everybody, of course. So here we are, and I'm going to go just weave in and out of this. So I'm going to go over and under, over and under, over, wipe it off, under, over, under, over, under, okay, over, under, oops, I didn't do a very good job of that one, over, under, under, over, under. Every time I do one of these, I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm trying to think about how I can, oops, that one went the wrong way. So this, we'll just fill that in. And do I go, oh, did I muck it up? Oh, I think I mucked it up. Oh, see, I get a little confused. This one should be under, this one. No, wait a minute, that one's over. That one's under, over. This should be under. Oh, no, over, under. Ooh. Under, over, under. I think I did it. So you can see by repeating patterns and things like that, you can do that. And I was very liberal with putting the yellow on the surface over top of a bunch of blue. And the reason I did that is I'm sort of looking at what happened along the edges here and seeing the blue. If I want to, I can go back in and I can play around with this if I want to for ages. But so that's the showing you the basic way these tools work. And next I'm going to be doing a Yupo demonstration. But first of all, we're going to watch a video about where it's used, and then you're going to see Julie Pritchard, another person who's an online artist on Instagram, and she's going to talk about her favorite tools.
All of these products are paid for by me. I am not receiving any paid sponsorship for any of these mentions. Next up, from Barvotti.com are these rubber scraping brushes. I really like these to add texture and to smooth paint on my surface. They come in a variety of sizes. These two are my most favorite tools right now.
Okay, here we are. And here's the Yupo paper. Where is it? It's right in the center. Oh, okay, I can tell. There we go. I'm just wondering how, I want to make sure you can get the whole paper in. Oh, yeah, there. There we go. I should probably put a different color under there sometimes, so at least I'll know where the edges are. Yeah. Okay, so this is Yupo paper, a plastic paper. I believe it was made in Japan that's where it's originally came from. But it's a recognized archival art paper, and it's got a beautiful slick surface. So we're going to try and do one of those Yupo pictures. And how are we doing for time? Oh. This part is always fun, just dropping off some blue. And what I've chosen here is a cerulean blue, which is it's opaque, and so is this. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here, because my preference is I usually work with transparent colors, and not so much the opaque. But let's just play. And the importance of play. Okay. Oops, over the edge. And so I'm going to put a little bit more there. Now I'm just, I haven't planned this. And the reason I don't plan is because one of the things that I discovered early in my abstract painting career was that the more I planned, the worse it looked. And if I could just play, then I would get to a point, and then I have to know to stop. So, and sometimes you have to keep going too. And you can, sometimes there's more than one. So what I'm playing with here is a tool I made. You can see it here, I think. Does it show up? Yeah, there's teeth on this little thing here. See? I've cut teeth out of it. So the edge, one edge is flat and there's little teeth cut. This is my parallel line maker. And it gives me a variety of other lines that I can use. And I'm not saying that you have to do these. You certainly want to have all the straight ones without the lines in them. And I do have a variety of these. So sometimes I have certain kinds of lines and other kinds. Other times, I wonder where my, oh, they're sitting right on my desk here. So this one is a little different. Well, it's actually pretty much the same. It's just a little smaller. And then there's this one, which has only got 3 teeth. Big. So I'm just playing, and I'm just putting things in places where they look like they'll be fun to be. And I'm trying not to be, for it to be important to have something perfect show up here. And in fact, I'm thinking that's a distinct impossibility. So once you've got all these little bits of lines on, if that's something that you feel like doing, you can go back to these nice wide things. And you can go like that. You can put some spaghetti marks on it. Now here, it's going to have slightly different qualities than if I was using transparent paints, but not terribly different. Just looking at. Okay. I put my other stuff away so I can't show you. So big expressive marks over this kind of mark here. So play, play, play. And believe it or not, this is how I determine what I might make later in a bigger piece. I have a look to see how the lines are working and things like that. And what am I going to do? I'm going to take this one. This is the toothiest. And I'll show you how it works. It has, if you watch the thing, was it the thing at the beginning? I forget which one it was. Maybe that purple one. I think I used this a lot. Now, one of the things I do like to do when I'm making broad streaks is to go right off the edges as though the edges were not there. And then that gives the sensation that this world I am painting exists beyond the picture frame. At least that's my idea. I think I've heard that before. So I'm thinking of a big world with lots of stripy things and lots of parallel lines. And then these guys come along and go. So these are sharp marks made with fairly wide blades going perpendicular to a bunch of swimming marks. And what makes it interesting is, to me, because it might not be interesting to you, is that most of the lines underneath are very well preserved and quite sharp. And so it gives a dimension to this that if I were to spend days painting this, I could never come close. Never, ever, ever. Okay, so let's look at that. think we're just going to leave that. See, I could fuss with it, and it will probably go downhill from here. So I'm just going to leave that. And I think that's our show for today about Previn. I should bring the picture back. You have two things to show, don't you? You have the how our products are used, and a little video on how our products are used, and a video on the mediums that are often used by the products. Okay, thank you for joining us today. Behind me is an enlargement of a small poured painting I did, which I worked into. And we can do poured paintings on this show, but let me know and I will set it up. So when I say worked into, I mean like this swirl here was, and some of these things would not have occurred if I hadn't helped pour along. Anyway, you can find us here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Central to do a demonstration and answer your questions. If you have ideas for demonstrations that you'd like to see, please let us know. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday. Oops, stay here.
I'm going to go back to my little rubber spatula here. She had that big ball of dark. And then we'll go over it again with a lighter blue, but this will be underneath. So are we getting to look like this ocean? See? This is really cool. Where do you get them? Oh, I ordered them from Amazon. They look like, where's my big one? I think they're called shapers. I got two of them. I got the bigger one. They're not expensive either. I got this one. I think if you just put in paint shapers, this will come up. They're nice, and you can use the tips if you want to sort of scratch out. Yeah, they had a couple different sizes, but I like them. It's the first time I've started using them.
All of these products are paid for by me. I am not receiving any paid sponsorship for any of these mentions. Next up, from Barvotti.com are these rubber scraping brushes. I really like these to add texture and to smooth paint on my surface. They come in a variety of sizes. These two are my most favorite tools right now.